All right, so what up, y'all? I wanted to do a video today on the American Indian Treaty. Uh, I don't know. I don't know why I had this thought in my head of like, have the American Indians ever like thought about renegotiating? My bad. Have they ever thought about like renegotiating their treaty, and what's going on with that? Has America treated them right? Because you really don't hear anything about it. Like, you know that there is a treaty. You're aware that there's a treaty out there. But do you really know, like, is America honoring that? And we had to hold America accountable for how the deals that they have going on already, especially here in America. And how you gonna make a deal with someone in another country and you're not even holding up to your deals? And I need you to focus on home first, because home made you powerful. Home made you like the people that gave put their blood, sweat, and tears for this money to be given out to these for the aid. You know, I feel like we need to vote on that. I feel like I think I think before we do anything for a country, we need to make sure they can pull themselves up by their own bootstraps first, like you make us do. You know, we work very hard for every dollar that is being given to you guys. Uh, some of us, especially the police department, like they go through a lot of bull crap. You know, dealing with people. You know what I mean? And to say to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go and take this money that I know the American people work so hard for, because the government didn't generate this money. I'm gonna take this money that I know the American people work so hard for. They're not gonna vote on it. I'm gonna just tell them what we're gonna do with this money. That's not right. And there should be a lot more changes coming. Should be a lot more changes coming from the government than what is going on right now. I don't appreciate how they're moving. You know, I don't appreciate how they treat the American people, and we are the ones who make America look great. And it's not just the white people in America. It's not just the black people in America. It's not just the Indian or the Hispanic community in America. It's not the Arab. It's not just the Arabic community in America. It's not the Russian community in America. It's not the Ukrainian community in America. It's a collection of all. It's not the African. It's a collection of all of those communities that makes America great, and that makes America powerful, and that makes America keep moving. And so, like, for me to hear that this country is going through a war, and it is so sad to hear. It is so sad to hear that this country is going through something. They have to literally sleep with one eye open, while everyone else around them is kind of like just moving with just ease, you know, and they fighting, they are fighting for their country. But just to give them right off the bat $1 billion, not even a half a billion. Let's see what you have done for the American Indian, because I feel like if you haven't done anything for the American Indian culture and you made a treaty with them, your word ain't spit. And it's time for renegotiations. It's crazy how everything else in America can be renegotiated, but certain things. I feel like, but let me hear what these people have to say before I get going into this because I haven't watched this video yet. This thing is buffering. Make sure it's gonna play.
Well, I think non-Native people know that treaties were signed. That might be it.
That's true. And she's laughing. You know, the crazy part about it is that's a European woman laughing about. I know melanated people know that treaties are signed. You know, and then she laughs. And that's it. And I just said in the beginning of this video, I know about the treaties, but I don't know too much. They laugh at that shit. Look at that. And I would too. If I'm like pulling strings, if I'm pulling strings and I know you trying to figure out a way to get that cheese, and all I gotta do is just block you every chance you get, yeah, I would try it. But I don't know. But competition would be good. I don't know. Maybe I'll go head to head with them. I don't know.
A treaty is fundamentally an agreement between two nations.
Treaties are only made between sovereign governments.
In fact, the U.S. has made more than 300 treaties with American Indian nations. The United
That's 299 more than I knew about. I only thought there was one. Yeah.
States' existence when it first won the war against Great Britain was very precarious, and many countries around the world did not recognize the United States' sovereignty. So the U.S., as a way to assert that it was a sovereign, it made agreements with native nations to sort of say to Europe, to Britain, hey, we're sovereign too, we can make these agreements. The idea that treaties somehow gave status or standing or land to indigenous nations is probably the main fallacy that exists.
I think that many people view treaties as special rights for Indians.
They're not rights given to native nations. They're native nations, by and large, giving rights to the United States. I think a lot of people lack an understanding that wherever they live, there's probably a treaty that gives them the right to live there, granted to them by native nations.
A nation.
Okay. Whoa. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So they have ownership of the land already. It's just the American government just walking around here like it's theirs. And they do what they want, when they want, how they want. Okay. I'm learning.
Relinquished the majority of its land rights, its land holdings, its resource holdings, for the right to preserve its way of life.
The rights that are reserved are more easily defined by the U.S. courts as property rights, but better defined by our traditional and cultural understandings as being relationship rights to the land, the water, and all of the beings that we hunt and fish and share that world with.
It's through treaties that I think we've been able to hold off a lot of forces that would like to see us erased from the continent.
I'm trying to think of one treaty that, from the perspective of the indigenous nation, has been fully upheld and implemented.
A lot of people.
America can't even keep their word on that. and realize it's not the people who didn't make the deals with them. So everybody who's angry with any other color or any other race besides the ones that made this deal with them, I'm pretty sure ain't no black slave owner made no deal with them. We had black slave owners. Pretty sure ain't no black slave owner made no deal with them about their land. But if they did, we should be held accountable too. And if they do decide to, reclaim it and the United States put up a fight for that, I would be on the American Indian side. I cannot stand to know that a country did so much to some people and then don't even want to make it right. As an American, I was raised off of principles, integrity. I was raised to have integrity first. And integrity tells me hey, all right, these are the agreements we made. We gotta hold this up. But if the government's not doing that, then Houston, we have a problem. We have a problem.
People disregard our treaties and say they're a thing of the past, they've been broken, let's forget about them. They would like to wipe away the treaty history of the United States, but that's simply not how it works.
Our United States Constitution recognizes that once a treaty is signed and ratified by the Senate, it becomes the, quote, supreme law of the land.
What that means is that a treaty, it's as much alive as the U.S. Constitution is.
Okay.
Are they living documents? Do they exist and do they transcend generations? The answer is absolutely yes.
When people question the relevance of treaties and say, I don't think treaties are relevant, my response is, then just give us the land back.
We're not talking about past history. We're talking about today. The best example of that is the Dakota Access Pipeline.
I think we saw before the world community the violation of the 1868 and 1851 treaties of the United States with the Lakota Nation in Standing Rock.
It brought the violation of treaty rights to today. Even though tribes have been experiencing those violations time after time after time.
Time after time.
Treaties go both ways.
This was a two-way street, that it was a shared history.
It's about mutual respect.
Non-native peoples are treaty partners, the descendants of the treaty signers, you could say, on the United States side.
I think that the way that we bring everybody into the conversation is we have curriculum that accurately reflects the reality of what an Indian treaty is. That's something we do for the United States Constitution and the three branches of government. Why don't we have a tribal component to that education?
The ancestors who negotiated the treaties, they were doing their best to protect us, to protect our culture, and protect our way of life.
And to me, that's a responsibility and a way in which I should live my life every day, to remember to honor those ancestors that fought so I could be here today.
Treaties are living documents because tribes continue to breathe life into them. We continue to speak their terms. We continue to remember the promises.
Alright, so if America is not holding their end of the deal of negotiations, first of all, does American do American Indians have a seat at the table at NATO? Because technically it should be United States slash, and then you should have another representative for American Indians at that table. And then I feel like you should have another representation of American Black. Like, because America's not just made up of one power. It takes a multiple of powers to create the greatness that we have. And all the agreements that we made with people. You can't go honoring this country and this country and this country's agreement, but in your own country, like, man, you alright, no. Nah, it don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that. And honestly, I just feel like I wouldn't be mad at the Indians, American Indians. I don't know if I'm Indian or not. Like, I got the good wavy hair, and my grandmother is not black. She's not black. She's Hispanic. I'm gonna call her Hispanic because I don't know. I really don't. I didn't grow up around her, but one thing I do know is that America doesn't talk about, the American Indian treaty. Really, the only thing we really know about, the only story we've ever heard about was they created a treaty after the Thanksgiving massacre. I would suggest that, like, there be some repercussions, because America always trying to how can I say that? Implement and hold people accountable for their ends of deals. And America should be accountable for breaking the American Peace Treaty. Because if it wasn't for the Indians actually saying, all right, we don't want no more war, we'll lease this land. Basically, that's what they're doing, is leasing the land to you. I'm like, this mine's? What do you mean? I need all your people to evacuate. They'll call the police and they'll put it up. And I put some tape around the whole building until the American Indians, if you have a drop of American Indian in your blood, well, I could say I got about like maybe 48% of American Indian in me. Maybe more. I'm just not going to test. I don't know. I don't trust that ancestry stuff. Man, my bad. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm at work and I'm tired. And I got to go to work in about 6 more hours. So I'm tripping because I ain't got no sleep. I ain't even took a nap. So usually if I get me like a 2-hour nap, I'll be all right. Hey, these homeless people be so funny because they realize somebody in the car and they'll turn their head right back around and walk the other way. They be door checking and shit. But alright, y'all. I just wanted to see, and it mainly be European. White dude gonna be there. So let's see what we can get. But yeah, I appreciate you guys just taking the time out and listening. But we actually, I feel like we need to do more. I think every month we should do like a remembrance and pay tribute to the American Indians. Because without them just saying, okay, calling it, bringing a deal to the table. Without them saying, okay, forget that, we gonna fight to the end. We don't care. We don't want you here. That could very well happen. And how would the world be today? So I feel like we should show love to them. America was not just built off the backs of whites and blacks. I tell you that much right now. Oh, we had help. We all had help in this. It's just I don't like the fact that we we make it just a white and black thing. I'm gonna say that. It's not just a white and black thing, man. It's not. And y'all gotta be more respectful to other cultures. Especially the Indians. I love America, which means I love all people. Because America was built off of all people. I just can't stand the system we have right now and the people we have in power. And if I was, I don't know. Last thing I'm going to say about this is if I was the American Indians, I would literally just go ahead and say, all right, now we want to implement this piece of land on down and start our own government, we want our own we want to govern our own government. There you go. There you go. We want to govern our own government, and we will still be allies, and we will still honor that treaty, but we want to make our own decisions. We no longer agree. We want to drop that from the agreement. And you can drop something too. But that part, so I feel like, and I feel like the black community should do the same thing. We should honestly get some land, create our own govern our own government, and have a treaty with the United States of America. You know, um, they can pick what half of the America they want, but we put blood, sweat, and tears for this country too. So did American Indians. The Arabics have their own land to go back to. So do the Asians. And that's why I'm not talking about them. And they can be very clear. Because wherever we came from, oh, I want that back. And move whoever's out. I don't care. You will help us move them out. Because we helped you move a lot of people out of the way. Just like you just gave Ukraine $1 billion just to get them on their feet. Why black people ain't doing the same thing? Create our own government. Right, make a deal with them. Y'all want us out of this country? All right, bet. Let's make a deal. Al Sharpton couldn't do it. Martin Luther King couldn't do. Martin Luther King, Morgan John, the god dog on the street, Thomas. We need to hold hands with Kumbaya. They never wanted to hold our hands. The people that are in charge never wanted to hold our hands. That's running the country right now. Never wanted to hold our hands. They never will want to hold our hands. Not American Indians, not Arabics, not Asians. The only people they care about is themselves, their species. But I do appreciate y'all watching this video. I'm gonna get on up out of here. My name is K, or Key to This Era. Alright, and you are on GAE Gems. GAE Gems. Boom, gotcha. And I'm out. Hopefully I can get a little nap in, but I'm out, y'all. Peace.